So the next module, Chunk Down, is all around taking your major personal development goals and chunking them down into small, manageable steps. Now, small wins stacked over time build absolutely unstoppable momentum. It reduces overwhelm by transforming those big, hairy, audacious goals into actionable small steps. It really does help you stay consistent and motivated along that personal development journey. What we will cover today is what chunk down means and why it's an absolute game changer, how to break any big goal into small, manageable steps, and what it means, why it matters, and then I'm going to share one common mistake to avoid to make sure you do not trip up along the way. And finally, we're going to jump on and look at some simple strategies on how you apply chunk down to your own personal development goals. So fundamentally, chunking down means always starting with the end in mind. So identify your major personal development goal, understand what the end looks like, and then making sure you divide that personal development goal into small, manageable steps. And what you need to understand is you need to understand where you are on that journey and how big and how stretching that goal is. So take, for instance, you want to climb Mount Everest. You may be doing some small hikes. You might be a lazy couch potato. They need to be stretch goals, but absolutely need to be realistic from where you are at the moment in time. So what does chunking down your goals mean? Chunking down is the process of you breaking your big, exciting goals into small, manageable steps. It takes away massive amounts of overwhelm with you having an extensive long to-do list, and it makes sure that progress feels manageable along that journey. Now, why does it matter? Sometimes when you set a big goal or a New Year's resolution, sometimes it feels impossible because it's too large. Chunking down makes it easier to get started, stay consistent, and build momentum along that journey. One thing from my experience, a common mistake to avoid is trying to tackle the whole thing at once. Do not go from 0 to 100 miles an hour in hours and days. Make sure you're realistic with yourself, and make sure you are chunking those goals down into small, manageable steps, which will help build momentum. If you try to tackle everything at once, that leads to procrastination. It leads to you feeling overwhelmed and burned out. And simply, when it feels too hard, you will end up just giving up. Okay, so let's jump on the screen and see how we apply chunk down to your own personal development goals. So, here's how to apply chunk down to your major personal development goals. Make sure that you've defined that big goal and have a good think about what the end result is and be super clear with that end result. Understand where you are now, understand the end goal, and understand what time frame you are giving yourself to achieve that. Then, for that major goal, identify key milestones and break that into 3 / maximum of 5 key phases. Don't do more than that because they don't become milestones, then they just become actions. Because what you are going to do next is, for each of those 3 to 5 key phases, you are going to brainstorm mini actions which will allow you to tackle each phases in a chunked down approach. And have a think about what are your weekly steps you can take to push that goal forward. And a little self-reflection prompt when you're going through that process. Think about, if I had to move this goal forward with just 30 minutes per week, what one thing would I do first? That enables you to calibrate on those small, manageable chunks that you can identify to start making progress. And a quick success tip: only focus on one chunk at a time. Pick one of the phases, pick a handful of actions, and focus on one small chunk at a time. Remember that progress comes from movement and not multitasking on absolutely everything. That is a surefire, if you do that, that's a surefire way of you getting massive amounts of overwhelm. So what does that look like in practice? Let's use a practical example. So the big goal is run a marathon, 26.2 miles in 16 weeks. So we're going to identify the milestones. We're going to break the goal up into clear phases. We are going to build our base mileage to X per week, all depending on how much you want to step up those long runs across each week. At some point in that, we are going to build to run a half marathon. As part of that process, we are going to improve the long run distance, and we are going to make sure that we don't neglect strength training along that running plan. And fundamentally, the last and major milestone is that race day where we're running a full marathon. So what are the key next steps? Again, ask yourself the question, what will I do this week to move forward? 2 clear tasks and weekly priorities that you can hold yourself accountable to. You're going to run 2 base runs and 1 long run per week. And then you're going to make sure you get 3 strength sessions in. So as an example, what I do to keep myself honest through my fitness journey is I'm a spreadsheet kind of guy. I have a spreadsheet and a plan for absolutely everything. So building something for a fitness plan is no change to my standard approach. What I would do is say I have a key event coming up in September. I'm going to do a big walk or a big run. I will plug that into the spreadsheet on that week, and then I will work back from that. And I will schedule all of my daily fitness activity into each one of the days. See there, we've got our 3 strength sessions, and we've got 3 runs. We've got easy runs, building up some miles, and then we've got the long runs, which we incrementally add miles as we're starting to progress. And then that's like fundamentally, you've got yourself a roadmap, you've got yourself an end goal and key phases identified. That'll enable you to have small, manageable chunks per week to make sure you build rock solid momentum.